ain't like I smoke and it slow me down. No, or I'm gonna go to sleep. I smoke and I'm on. I'm like, what's up?
So much smoke, they can't see me. Sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair. So much smoke, they can't see me. Sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair. So much smoke, they can't see me. Sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair. So much smoke, they can't see me. Sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair. Give me a sweet damn. Rub it, buzz it down, buzz it down. Fill that bitch with good green and hell, then get tossed in the fucking cloud. Man, you be smoking that bullshit, and I can get jiggy with that shit. You gotta have Russian to match this. I need my lungs to be hacking, spitting fire like a dragon. Man, you broke, stop asking. Time to put in, you dragging. Man, you broke, stop asking. Why you always fucking up rotation? Sit your ass down and stop asking. I'm so elevated, then they hate it, cause I'm meditated, then I'm bragging about this loud ass cannabis sativa. Ooh, wee, man, I love this week. We put it in the ground and just a start to keep up. Yeah, mix it up, roll it up, light it up, turn it up, ashes to ashes, turn the blunts to dust. Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it. We turning all these blunts, ashes to dust. Smoke, they can't see me, sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair, some smoke, they can't see me, sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair, some smoke, they can't see me, sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair, some smoke, they can't see me, sweet aroma and the hag. If you close, you might choke. Faded in hair.
At one point in time, I think they were upset because they couldn't tax weed. You know, people were growing weed on their own, but they couldn't tax the weed, so they would really hit you and throw you under the jail because you was growing your own shit. Now here it is going back to, you got people that, like I said, we're in a pandemic. So somebody figure, well, damn, I need to get some stress off my mind. They go to the liquor store. The shit that they had a problem with the legalizing and all that at one time. But then you get the alcohol in your system, it don't work for everybody. Some people might have, well, here we go with the drunk driving and situation. You got a lot of deaths. You might not have been the one that was drinking, but a drunk driver hit.
Poetic soliloquy. I just want to speak my mind. Speak my mind. If that were possible.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Savage Talk with your host, Savage Soliloquy. Mwah. What's happening, everybody, man? We got a deep story today. A deep story that involves all of us. The SBA loans. Everybody knows about the SBA loans right now, whether it's PPP loans or EIDL loans. These loans have been in the conversation for a while now, and we want to explore this. I want to explore it because, like, I personally have applied for one of these loans. These loans that were for the disaster loans. These loans were supposedly put out there to help, small business owners who struggled during this pandemic. And we know this pandemic took a lot of small businesses out. So we were given this promise from the government, during the Trump administration, that, we would get all this money to help us keep our businesses afloat. I think he kind of promised on it. He kind of fulfilled his promise. Like they started dumping money out. Everybody was getting money, but then it got to this thing where he's like, oh, hold up, people are scheming. Like, why are all these people scheming? Like, they messing it up for everybody. And it became this whole thing where everybody was looking at their neighbor like, hey, man, you scheming all the money. You're going to mess it up for everybody. Problem with that is that it wasn't your neighbors. There were a few people without businesses. I know a bunch of people without businesses that were able to get these loans. The thing was, it wasn't a scam. These people were using their social security numbers. You know, they were basically getting loans. So the majority of people that people thought were scamming, they weren't scamming. They were literally just getting loans with their social security numbers. That's not a scam. They're coming back for that money. You have to pay that back. So a lot of people in the poor communities, the poverty-stricken communities, start turning on each other like, you know, that we messed up because all these people stealing the money and all this, but that wasn't true. It wasn't true at all. It was another tool to turn us all against each other. In reality, it was the big businesses. It was the large corporations. They were creating LLCs and they were creating small corps, so-called small businesses, you know, under a different name. They were the ones taking all the money. So, okay, so they did a big reform and everything. We did a big reform on the SBA loans, and it was so-called to shake out all the scammers. Okay. Now, they made it a little harder to get these loans with the SBA. And I'm telling you, it got hard. Like I didn't even get the loan. I got a legit business that I've been running for 10 plus years, you know what I'm saying? And I could not get the loan. Like, I'm gonna speak on why I didn't get the loan a little later. But yeah, it was these big corporations taking all the money. They took like 90% of the money. So they had to reform it and bring it back out. And now we're leading into the Biden administration. And oh my goodness, like Biden pretty much cut everybody out. Like he cut a lot out and pretty much he cut a lot of programs and put more money into programs that people were kind of on the fence about. Like, you know, like he pretty much gave Asian people reparations. Like he's been giving people reparations. He didn't give black people anything, but he's been giving people reparations and all that. So I mean, he's been looking out for like a lot of these different communities, like the LGBTQ community and the Asian community. That's pretty much who he's been looking out for. The Indian community. Anybody else, you pretty much screwed. You know, of course, they're taking care of the white community. But anybody else, you pretty much screwed. And he made some changes to the SBA loans and all that. And since then, it's been almost impossible to get a loan. like if you're a small business and like, we're going to go specifically. Basically, the SBA loan, the PPP loans, all that was a complete wash. It was a scam. The big businesses basically got richer off of them. Small businesses barely seen any of that money. Honestly, small businesses barely seen any of that disaster money. Majority of that disaster money that was rewarded went to big businesses, big corporations. It's fucked up. So Biden was so-called supposed to rehash or whatever. So what do we have now? A story came out today. You know, they were looking at some statistics of, you know, this new reform, the Biden SBA loans and grants. And the EIDL loan, you know, the economic disaster loan. This was supposed to be out here to help small businesses, you know, survive the turmoil of the pandemic. It was like a $10,000 loan. that many people tried to go for. I know a lot of people that got it off their Social Security numbers, which, you know, they're kind of going to regret that later if they didn't put it towards a business and make money with it. But it basically failed. And they did it. None of it went to poor neighborhoods, to to small businesses and poverty-stricken neighborhoods, communities. Hardly none of it went to that. So they created the targeted EIDL program, which was supposed to be targeted specifically for poverty-stricken, like small businesses in poverty-stricken communities. This is targeted just for poor people, you know, and these small businesses, which are, come on now, these are mainly like black businesses. When you're talking about poverty-stricken communities, you're talking about black communities. There are no other poverty-stricken communities but black communities. So, you know, let's get through the code words and all that. You know, there are other people within them black communities that are dealing with poverty that, you know, that need to be represented, you know, but honestly, some of the people could easily switch over to the other side due to their color, they you know, complexion for protection and all that. They might not know that, but, you know, that's the reality of this world, that, you know, poverty-stricken neighborhood means a black community, a black neighborhood. So these targeted loans were supposedly targeted for small businesses, black-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, stuff like that. Okay. He had a big speech, and you know how they was gonna do all this for poverty-stricken neighborhoods, and they've done absolutely nothing. Man, the statistics came out. Only 10% of these EIDL loans have been distributed to businesses in these poverty-stricken neighborhoods. 3.8 billion. This is nationwide. 3.8 billion of this has been rewarded to small businesses within these poverty-stricken neighborhoods. This is out of $30 billion rewarded for this program, which means they've only rewarded 10% of the rewards of this program. You know, compared to the other programs which the funds were depleted. The funds were depleted within the other disaster loan programs. But the one targeted for poverty-stricken, for businesses within poverty-stricken businesses, communities, only 10% of it has been rewarded. Only 10% of the funds set aside for small businesses within poverty-stricken communities has been rewarded. Only 10%. None of the other programs are dealing with this. All of the other programs are being depleted from their funds. But the funds that were specifically given for people in poverty, only 10% of that have been rewarded. Why has only 10% of this been rewarded? Let's go into details. Like I said, when you're talking about poverty-stricken communities, let's not get it wrong. We're talking about black communities. We're talking about black community. There's no other community that's considered poverty-stricken in America. We have poverty-stricken people in America like that are not black, but most likely they're in a black neighborhood or in the outskirts of a black neighborhood. Other than that, people aren't really dealing with poverty at a high level unless it's a black neighborhood. So let's get this right. These were loans specifically targeted for black people and people of color and minorities. Yet only 10% of it has been awarded. That doesn't sound funny to you? Only 10% of this money has been given to poor people, trying to create businesses to better their neighborhoods. That's horrible, man. But why is it like that? I'm going to tell you why. Matter of fact, I'm going to start it off with this. I'm going to give you the biggest complaint that the SBA has about these funds. Listen now. The biggest complaint to the SBC about these loans and why they're not being rewarded is because they're not being rewarded to people outside of the poverty-stricken communities. Let that sink in your mind. The biggest complaint to the SBA about these loans targeted to people of poverty is that people outside of these poverty-stricken communities can't get a hold of these funds. In other words, the people like the guys that own your corner stores, you know, the people that aren't living in the community, you know, usually Arabic. I'm not shooting out at anybody, but let's keep it real. Like, it's mainly like these complaints are coming mainly from businesses owned by Indian business owners, Arabic business owners, you know, sometimes African business owners. Basically, people that aren't from the neighborhoods that they're serving. We all know about the corner stores, the gas stations that aren't owned by black people, that aren't owned by that don't look like the people that's in the neighborhood, aren't owned by the hillbillies. Let's keep it real. You know, the black communities are majority like black people, hillbillies, you know, a few Latin people, and you know, a few other cultures, you know, sprinkled within. I'm talking about the big neighborhoods that are targeted by that have been targeted by the government all these years, and that are considered big cities, you know, that have big amounts of minority communities in them. So it's basically like the people who've been stealing all the money from the communities, who've been taking all the money from the communities, they're trying to take the rest of the money. So all these black business owners, all these minority business owners that have been struggling to get this money, they're being blocked because, you know, the people outside of these communities are trying to get the money. And that's not the only thing. Like, I'm going to tell you my experience. And I'm going to share my experience because my experience is the same as many business owners that I know and that have been trying to get these loans, that have been trying to get these grants from the SBA. The problem we run into is that they say our businesses are not legit. And I mean, there's literally nothing they have as a backing to say that our businesses aren't legit. But it's with what I dealt with, it was a thing with just giving you nonsense until you quit. You know what I'm saying? Giving you nonsense until you quit. Basically, what I dealt with was I went for the loan. I got denied instantly. They said I wasn't a legit business, even though I'm registered with the government. I'm registered with the state. I've made money for years. I've paid taxes on my business. I have all my paperwork. I have all my sales, all my profits, everything. And I gave all this to them instantly. When I applied for it, I gave them all my information, all my sales, my LLC information, my state information, my tax information. I gave them all of that. The first response they gave me was that they had no evidence that I was a legit business and that they wanted me to send my LLC papers in. They wanted me to send my tax paperwork in. Everything I've already sent in. They wanted me to send all of this in to prove that I was a business. So I was a little pissed. I sent a letter back saying, like, what's up? I already sent all of this. And they basically were saying, send it again. So I sent all of it again. So then they said I needed I was doing business under Aslo at the time, and Aslo went under. They didn't survive the pandemic. Aslo was a digital business bank account, but they didn't survive the pandemic. So I had to switch during this time. So, you know, they tried to use that as an excuse. They're like, oh, we need a bank account. So I made another bank account. And I gave it to them, and they just never got back with me. So I started sending back letters, like, what's up? What's going on? What's the problem? They sent me a letter talking about, like, we can't prove it's another LLC. We can't prove it as a legit business. Send your tax paperwork, send all this other stuff. So I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, so I'm like, I basically went into a cycle of them telling me to send the same stuff over and over again to the point where they stopped responding to me. You know, so I never got the loan. That's how I never got the loan. They just stopped responding to me, and I'm like, what the hell, And this is the same thing that many small black business owners just went through, that there was no legit reason for them to deny us, but they just kept sending the same bull crap over, like, oh no, we deny you because of this and this and that. We deny you because of this and that, and they weren't legit reasons. Like my stuff, they weren't legit reasons. The stuff they denied me for were not legit. Like I provided all the paperwork, and they still have me. My mother, been doing business longer than me. The reason why I do business, she has a lot more paperwork than me, a lot more evidence that she's been doing business, and they were just sending her through hell, man. They were asking for more stuff from her than me. It's like they were asking for different stuff from different people, and it was like, that's not legit. That's not legit at all. So it's like, how come some people let me bring it back. Let me tell you the people who were getting it, like the local people who were getting it. The local people who were using their social security numbers, who were not using the legit business, you know what I'm saying, or anything. They were just using their social security number. And the reason they were able to get it so easy because, okay, now you're trapped. You have to pay this shit back. Now we have credit on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing I can think about it. It was extremely hard for legit business owners to get it, but it's extremely easy for you to get it off your social security number, which is basically personal credit. That's not business credit. That's personal credit, which is going to fuck your credit up if you don't repay that. And to me, that's remember the mortgage crisis when they were giving them messed up loans, you know what I'm saying, to kind of control the neighborhoods and kind of screw people up, the predatory loans. To me, that's what that is. It's not people scamming and getting over the government. It's a predatory loan. It's literally, it's a predatory loan if you use those social. If you use it as business credit, you got more leniency. You know what I'm saying? The predatory part of it kind of goes away. But as far as like using your social security number, you just signed up for a predatory loan. And that's going to screw our people. And them the only ones they're approving. Them like the only loans that they're approving is the ones people using their social security for instead of their EIN numbers and their LLCs or their corps, their S corps and all this. That's what they're doing, man. And our people are just like thinking, like a lot of people think they're getting over. A lot of people think they're getting over with these loans. Look at Baby Blue from Pretty Ricky. This nigga about to do about 10, 20 years in jail for the PPP loans. For scamming. For thinking he's scamming. Like, bruh, you not scamming them. Like, you had to use your information in there. The only people that were scamming were people using other people's information. That was the legit scam. But the people using their social security numbers, bruh, they coming back for you. And the fact that them were the only ones that they were approving, that lets you know that the government was, the SBA was scheming. Like, why are you making it so hard for legit business owners to get it? And I'm thinking it's just like me at first. And then I'm like, my mother's didn't get approved. I'm like, her stuff more legit than mine. And then it's like, oh, most of the black business owners that I know, they weren't getting it. And the ones that I knew that did get it, they didn't use their business. They used their social security numbers, which was not the way to do that. That's not going under your business credit. That's personal credit. They schemed us, man. They schemed us again. And the fact that they only use 10% of the money used for poor neighborhoods, while all the other money used for the other programs ran out, depleted. People used it up. But the stuff used for poor neighborhoods, only 10% of it is used. Come on, man. They scheming, man. Bruh, they is controlling us, man. They controlling the whole fucking narrative. They controlling everything. And we just sitting on our asses, man. They played us again. Whew. I don't even know how to leave this one with a positive note, because they literally promised us $30 billion and only gave like $3.8 billion of that. It's nationwide. And I'm telling you, they only gave that to people who were using their social security numbers. they didn't give a lot of that to legit businesses. You know what I'm saying? That was on purpose. Because if they would have gave that to legit businesses within the poor neighborhoods, you start raising up out of poverty. You start getting these communities out of poverty. And once you get these communities out of poverty, they no longer become profitable to the healthcare industry, to all these other industries that's just relying on the ignorance of poverty and stricken people. It is what it is, man. I guess I do have some positivity for this, man. We always got positivity for it. Just because who we is, man. Because of who we are. Yeah, excuse me, y'all. I'm just looking. I got some yard work being done, so I got like people outside. My wife just all that put up. That's why you hear these beeps going boop boop boop. Yeah, can't nobody creep up in my yard. And all the types of alarms get to going off when people moving in the front. But the positive end of this: invest in stocks, invest in the IRA, invest in cryptocurrency, invest in small business, invest. Get you a few people to group with and create businesses, learn how to make money with each other, and build a community. Within that community, reach out to other communities who are doing the same thing. With that, we can raise up out of this poverty. The government is not about to save us. They're using poverty-stricken people as a mascot to get more money for rich people. That's what's going on with the pandemic, all of that, with the jab, all of that. They're using disasters. They don't care about us. They're using disasters and all this to get rich off of us. So we have to pull back and stop relying on them and create our own wealth. Learn how to grow food, man. Learn how to grow food. Like if we learn how to grow food with each other, we won't be dependent on them so much, and they'll pretty much start pandering to us again. Grow your food, invest in stocks, invest in cryptocurrency, build a community, eat with people, buy some bulk food, get together with like 4 or 5 families, man, and pitch all money together and buy bulk food, man. I'm telling you, over time, this is going to save you money. This is going to create a community to where you can build businesses with each other. You build trust with each other, and we can get out of this crap because they're not going to save us. They're showing it over and over again that they not going to help us. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to help like 3% of us, and they're going to put them 3% of us that they help on all the media that you can think of, and we're going to start thinking like, oh, they are helping us. They pulling us out of this, and when they really aren't. They're using us as mascots. So stop being a mascot and grow your own food, invest in your own stuff, get your own retirement plan. Retirement plans at jobs, they really do suck. Get your IRA plan, get your Roth IRA. I mean, it's all types of stuff you can invest in. Just don't be idle. The worst thing you can do right now is be idle, because idle people are the people that's letting this stuff go on, and we're going to be stuck forever. I'm not trying to be stuck forever. I don't want my people to be stuck forever. So let's move, let's grind. And with that, I got to say, what up? Enjoy the rest of your day. If you ain't listening to anything I said today, listen to them last words I said. If you ain't investing in nothing today, you losing. If you ain't saving money in some type of stock or something, you losing. If you ain't learning how to grow food, you losing. If you ain't building community, you losing. So start winning. And this your boy Savage Soliloquy out. Hey, let's go.